On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Dr. Honorable Michael Kirby, to address Convocation.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank Chancellor Cowan, President Shakma, and my friend, Professor Rashid, who read the citation, and indeed the entire Western family for awarding me this honor. I am truly grateful. I also want to congratulate today's graduates on having earned a degree from one of Canada's very best universities. It is indeed a significant achievement that we are all here today to watch you graduate. In particular, to those graduates who are receiving a graduate or professional degree, I want to recognize the extraordinary amount of perseverance you've exhibited. Your willingness to keep going in spite of the inevitable periods of discouragement which everyone studying for a graduate or professional degree endures, is truly admirable. But there's another group of people here today who also deserve congratulations: the parents of the graduates. They have played an integral part in the achievements of those graduating today, and so I would like to ask all the graduates to stand up and applaud your parents and all the others who are here today who have provided you with support and encouragement. Thank you. A considerable number of this year's graduates will be going to work in positions in which they will be teaching or providing service to others. As a front row service provider or teacher, I urge you to treat the people you are helping in a holistic way. Don't see them merely as someone that you are helping to solve a specific problem, but see the entire person that you are serving. Let me explain why I think this is so important. Centuries ago, the medical profession severed the head from the body. Doctors treated everyone from the neck down. Individuals with a problem from the neck up, with mental health problems, were burned at the stake as witches, left to wander alone in the wilderness, and as we did in Canada, they were warehoused in large institutions which we called insane asylums. Only in the last 20 years, a very short period of time, has Canada begun to recognize that there is a direct link, a cause and effect, between physical health and mental health. It is now widely recognized that it is important to treat everyone to whom you are providing service in a holistic manner. It is also essential that you treat yourself in a holistic manner, that you take care of your mental health as well as your physical health. Many of you will make an effort to eat organic food or a plant-based diet. You will exercise regularly and do other things to keep yourself in good physical health. You must do the same for your mental health. Mental illness, such as anxiety, depression, and other mood disorders, will be a serious problem for at least 25% of today's graduates in the years ahead. At least 1 in 4 Canadians of your age, particularly as you go into your late 20s and 30s, will have an episode of mental illness. I say at least 25% because that's the percentage of people that will seek help in the mental health system. But many more of you, probably another 25%, who actually need help, will fly under the radar of clinical detection. Because of the stigma attached to mental health and the ego of all high achievers who believe that they could not possibly need help, many of you who need help will not seek it. Like most physical health problems, mental health disorders can be treated easily and successfully if, and this is a big if they are diagnosed early enough before they become too severe. Unfortunately, this doesn't happen very often. Indeed, it was the stigma attached to mental health which led the Senate committee I chaired in 2006 to produce Canada's first ever national report on mental health, which Alan said in his introduction was called Out of the Shadows at Last. Since the release of the report a decade ago, this stigma is slowly but surely being reduced. For example, many Canadians are now willing to acknowledge that a member of their family has a mental illness, and some even admit that someone in their family died by suicide. So if you start feeling down or anxious a great deal of the time, as I've said, at least 25% of you will. If you start withdrawing from your usual social interactions with your family and friends, if you start getting angry or upset a lot more than usual, it is time for you to seek counseling help. There is absolutely no need for you to suffer alone. A trained counselor or psychotherapist can be truly helpful by helping you understand the root cause of your problem and giving you techniques for dealing with it. I stress the importance of psychotherapy because it is often very, very difficult to open up to a member of your family or even a close friend. I also stress the importance of seeking help early. Do not wait until your problem develops into something more serious. Just so you don't think that I'm fear-mongering by telling you that at least 25% of you will, at some point in the rest of your life, have a mental illness, let me tell you briefly a personal story. When my sister was in her early 30s, she became extremely depressed. In fact, she'd been suffering from depression for several years before anyone in the family realized it, and before anyone realized that she had a mental illness. Until then, because we did not know the signs of depression, the family simply thought that she was down, although none of us knew why, and nor did we ask why. So it came as a complete shock to the family when my sister attempted suicide. That's the bad part of the story. The good part of the story is that with the help of a psychiatrist, the use of pharmaceutical drugs, and particularly the assistance of a person my sister called her spiritual advisor, and I don't mean, and she didn't mean spiritual in the religious sense, but spiritual in the holistic sense that Indigenous people all over the world would use that term. My sister recovered. Let me stress the point that my sister's recovery was the holistic approach of her spiritual advisor, much more than pharmaceutical drugs or psychiatric help. My sister then went to university, earned a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and after graduating, she went on to manage a home for individuals with intellectual disabilities until she retired at age 65. I tell you this story because I really think it's important that you know that suffering from a mental illness such as depression is not the end of the world. Mental health disorders are treatable illnesses. But you need to take action. You need to seek help when you find yourself struggling or when you're feeling down for a lengthy period of time. Finally, I want to urge you to not avoid contact with a family member or friend because they are struggling with mental illness. This is the time in their life when they most need your love and help. It's extremely disturbing to me when people with a mental illness tell me, as hundreds have, that the attitude of their family and friends toward them, the way they are ignored and shunned by their family and friends, is often much worse on them than the mental illness itself. So I strongly urge you to not succumb to this stigma that surrounds mental illness. Reach out to others when they have a mental health problem. It will be one of the greatest acts of kindness you will ever do. Congratulations again on reaching today's milestone in your life. I wish you a successful career and a long and healthy life. But always remember, you cannot be truly healthy unless you are also mentally healthy. Thank you.